This is Breadkrumbs. My name is Reginald Grant. Thank you for joining me, and today I'm going to share with you again. As what I do is share my dreams and visions, and some of the things that I've dreamt or heard are basically sometimes just words and phrases, or I might just see a picture. So let's get started. I'm going to share a couple of follow-up stories, and then I'll just talk about some of the things I've recently heard 10, 15 years ago in my dreams and visions. And one of the things that I want to share with you is a follow-up. It's basically in 2010, I wrote a blog about one of the dreams that I've had, and then I had a dream recently, which I've already shared with you about and I think these two are related in some respect. So, in 2011, October 2011, I had this particular dream that I wrote about on a blog that I was doing at the time. I saw this woman and a man. I saw this woman and a man, and there was also an infant in the arms of the woman. Then there was an area on the crown of the infant's head that was highlighted, and it seemed as though the woman was rubbing gently this area of the infant's head, which was in the back top area. This woman was white, medium built, large breasts, long hair, and she had on a striped blouse. Now, back in 2011, I was working at TSA on the checkpoint at DFW. And ironically, this is what I wrote, a couple of days later, I saw a woman at work that fit the same description as the woman in my dreams, except there was no infant with her. And if you've followed me, you know, a couple of episodes ago, I talked about a dream where I'll give you a short version of it. Two women were at the airport. One goes into the restroom with the infant, and she mixes two liquids together, and she had this device, and this device was blinking a red light. She comes out with the infant, goes to meet up with the other woman, and shows her that the device was working. And then they proceed to head to the gate at the airport. Now, during their walking there, the baby has what seems to be a reaction to something, and one of the women was concerned about the infant's well-being, and the other woman assured her it was just a reaction to this, that, or the other. So, I believe that those two, even though they're 12, 13 years apart, may be related somehow. All right, let's move on back to some of the things I've heard and seen in my dreams. And of course, sometimes they're just words, sometimes they're phrases, and sometimes it's just a picture of something. So, few of the words that I've heard in my dreams are minerals, salt, lumber, ugly, cousin, short hair, paranoid, and I saw in my dreams one time that this pecan was as large as a watermelon. Now, I don't know if they can grow that large, but in my dream, the pecan was as large as a watermelon. Now, I like pecans, but I don't like them that much. And I've heard words such as vacuum, he has the number, and phrases like that, and phrases like, I was closing her womb. So, I'm going to do a little follow-up to a couple of stories that I've done about missing persons, unsolved murder mystery. And one of those is the unsolved murder mystery of Michael Chambers. who was a retired Dallas firefighter who went missing in March of 2017, I believe, and whose remains were found in December of 2022. Now, when I get into a lot of detail, I sent a email to the county sheriff office under the open records request, and that was probably a month and a half ago. Legally, they have about 45 days to provide that information to me, and unless they object to it, then they can appeal or object to the state attorney general. I have not seen or heard any objections to some of the requests that I've made, and I am going to follow up with the person to whom I sent the email to and find out what the status is. And I'll, of course, share that on my channel when I get it. Another story that I didn't say anything specific about was a particular disappearance of Natalie Holloway. But first, let me go back to a episode that I did where I talked about a young woman who was thinking to herself that her family and friends thought she was dead. Now, I've also had, this particular dream that I had here with that phrase was 15, it was more than 15 years ago. And recently, I shared with you that in this particular dream, I heard that they were holding Americans. They were holding them against their will. And there were 54. And most, if not all of them, were women. Now, in regards to the disappearance of Natalie Holloway, she was in Aruba on a high school trip in 2005, and she went missing. She has not been seen or heard from since then. Her parents, she was legally declared dead in 2012, she was declared legally dead. And recently, there was a individual, I don't know if pronounce his first name, I think it's Joran van der Sloot. He was a Dutch nationalist, and he was linked to her disappearance, but there was no evidence to support his arrest and conviction in Aruba. But he was convicted and charged and convicted of a murder of a Peruvian woman in 2010, where he was serving a sentence. He has since been extradited to the U.S. to face charges for wire fraud, in which he demanded $250,000 for information about Natalie Holloway. And recently, as part of a plea deal, he admitted to killing Natalie Holloway, but there was no agreement, nor do they expect to recover her body as part of the deal. He will then be sent back to Peru to serve out his sentence concurrently with his charges in the U.S. while he's in Peru. Now, it is my opinion that Natalie Holloway is still alive. I think she's been held with other Americans. And back in 2010, maybe 2008, I did reach out to their attorney to no avail. So anyway, that was something that I did years ago, and I still believe I believe she's still alive. Of course, he didn't admit to. He had no information regarding her remains. Maybe he said he disposed of her body at the sea. But I believe her disappearance, kidnapping, was done by a group who's a professional at kidnapping young women. So there is no actual proof of that at this point. But yes, I believe she's still alive, and I believe she can be located. So that's the follow-up on that, and if anything becomes of it, of course I'll share that on my channel. I had there were words that I heard in my dreams in addition to, ugly thought lumber, vacuum, and phrases like, he has the number, and I closed her womb. And now I'm going to share with you a dream that I had recently in the last few weeks. I was up among the stars, and I heard a soft voice. And the voice said there was another planet. And within myself, I was saying, well, if there was one, the Hubble telescope would have been able to locate it or to see it. And then I saw what looked to be like a right angle scale, and on each side of the scales there were numbers written on each side. What specific numbers? I don't know. And then I was back on Earth, and there was this woman, and she couldn't see, but then she got her sight back. But she didn't want anybody to know that she had gotten her sight back. I vaguely think I saw her on TV, and I don't know who she was specific, and I can't even really tell you whether she was black or white. But anyway, in the process of walking with her, her watch went off. It made this loud noise, and I couldn't tell you, there was no distinguishable words or phrases. It just sounded like her watch went off, and it was a loud noise. It wasn't like an alarm. It was like just some garbled transmission. And then walked further, and I could see in the distance a house or a building, and from the sky it looked like rain down of some type of weapon, and it destroyed this particular building or house. It wasn't like a bullet or rocket or anything like that. It was more like a rain of rays, I guess you can say. And there was this evil person, and then I had to go fight this evil person. And when I went over there to fight him, I thought within myself, what was I going to do to him? And that concludes that particular dream. So hope you found it interesting. This concludes this episode again. And again, I want to thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to me to follow up on, or if you have an idea or suggestion, please email me. Let me know. And that address is dallreggie@outlook.com. DALLREGGIE @outlook.com. So I want to thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time, and share with others, and I hope to see you back here soon.